What's going on, guys? It's your boy Distant Coder, and today I'm going to be presenting to you guys my Code Talker deck profile, not only for the TCG but for Master Duel as well. So this in-depth guide that I'll be giving you will teach you how to play this deck in every way, shape, or form for whatever platform you want to play on. So, the main deck coder monsters that you're going to be playing are Microcoder, Code Generator, and Code Radiator. These cards all basically help you get to your end board. Normally, what that end board would be is a U-Link with an Ibly lock on the opponent's side of the field. In this situation, Microcoder is going to be your best starter/extender. It gets you to any Signet spell or trap. The Code Generator is a very strong card, however, it doesn't really start your plays, it helps you extend. The Code Radiator is one of those that I feel differs between the TCG and a Master Duel. Because Master Duel is a coin toss best of one format, I personally opt to play one. In the TCG, I would say that playing none is probably better than playing one copy, but if you want to play a singular copy, you can go right ahead. If you're playing on Master Duel, there's also one additional card that you could be playing, which is Code Exporter. That card is not out in the TCG yet, but it is out in Master Duel. Personally, I would also play one of the Code Exporter if you are playing on Master Duel. So as I said before, the Microcoder can get you any Signet spell or trap. In this situation, the four best ones that you could be adding are Signet Codec, Signet Optimization, Signet Mining, or Signet Conflict. So these are the cards that are basically either going to help you build your board or strengthen your board. In the case of Signet Codec, this is the bread and butter of the deck. This card adds you a Cyberus monster from your deck to your hand of the same attribute as a Code Talker monster you summon from your extra deck. This card effectively reads add 4, 5, or even 6 cards from your deck to your hand in a single turn. In the case of Signet Optimization, Optimization gives you an additional normal summon for a Cyberus and also makes your Code Talker monsters have an Armades style of effect. This card is not necessary by any means. Personally, in the TCG, I would say that you either play one or none. However, because this card does facilitate going second in Master Duel, I would personally play one copy of it. Signet Mining is effectively the best search spell that you could be playing in your deck, apart from something like Small World. Signet Mining basically gets you to about 70% of the monsters in your deck, so it's a very powerful card. So Signet Conflict is the only trap card you should be playing in this deck, regardless of if you're playing a going first or going second variant. This card, if you control a Code Talker monster, you're able to negate and banish pretty much any card your opponent's going to be attempting to play to break your already difficult to break board. So these are the extra deck Code Talker monsters that I'm going to be using to represent to you guys all of the different attributes that you can add when you use the very powerful card Signet Codec. So while you have your Signet Codec out on the field, if you summon your choice of either the Axis Code Talker or the Code Talker, you will be able to search your choice of either the Microcoder or the Nightmare Corruptor Ibly. In the case of the Code Talker and the Axis Code Talker, personally, I would opt to play one of each, unless you feel like you are running out of resources very quickly in a grind game and you need a second Code Talker, you can choose to play two. One card that I would like to outline and basically show you guys more in depth is the Nightmare Corruptor Ibly. This card is an integral part to your end board. It also helps you play through things that you would normally not be able to play through should you not open the Ibly. The reason why I personally would say you should always play 3 Ibly is because if you open it, you get to put it onto your opponent's side of the field early and then protect yourself from stuff like Imperm, Nibiru, Gamma, or even on their turn, Evenly Matched and Lightning Storm. So the next attribute you can search is Light whenever you link summon your Code Talker Inverted. This will allow you to search Format Skipper, Cyber's Converter, Cyber's Gadget, Mathemech Sigma, Balancer Lord, Backup Secretary, or even Lady Debug. So the first card that I'd like to outline is the Format Skipper. Format Skipper is a very, very powerful search card in this deck. You only need to be playing one though because you are able to search it off the codec and summon it out immediately with the Code Talker Inverted. The Cyber's Converter is also very powerful and easy to search with the codec or with Lady Debug. Personally, I also play one, and the reason why I opt to play one of that and 0 of the Backup Secretary is specifically because of the level, because there is a monster in the extra deck that does require a level 2 or lower Cyber's monsters. The Cyber's Gadget, personally, I opt to play none, but I have debated going between 1 and 0 multiple times. The Cyber's Gadget is very powerful, able to reborn a level 2 or lower monster and make a token, can add up to a lot of bodies on board, but personally, I felt like it is one too many normal summons to play. Mathmech Sigma is very powerful in the sense that if it is in the hand or the graveyard, it can special summon itself out, so it is probably the most powerful discard for your Signet mining. Balancer Lord, in my opinion, has no place in this deck. I really don't think it's that good. Getting that additional normal summon is decent, but in practice, it just never really comes up and doesn't really find any relevancy in any time I have played the deck. The Lady Debug, however, is most likely, other than the Ibli, the most powerful normal summon in the deck. I would play 3 without any question, either for going first or second. Depending on if you're playing TCG or Master Duel, you always want to be playing 3. This is probably, other than Ibli, like I said, the best normal summon to open. And moving on, if you link summon your Transcode Talker, you will have the following Earth targets. You'll have Dotscaper, Code Generator, Link Slayer, or Gachiri at Ignister. So the Dotscaper is a card that, in my opinion, you'll very rarely be searching off of the Signet codec, but the reason why you play it is because of the second card you're searching, which is the Code Generator. You are always pretty much searching this card if you have not already opened it, and the reason why is because when you link it from the hand in order to make another Code Talker monster, you'll be able to send the Dotscaper from deck to graveyard and trigger the effect. In my opinion, both of these cards are one-ofs. The Link Slayer is a very, very strong card in order to be able to combo. More often than not, your combos all start with putting 2 monsters on the field in order to make a Link 2. So the Link Slayer, being a monster that you can just generically special summon out of your hand if you control no monsters, is very, very strong. And last but not least, the Gachiri at Ignister. This card is pretty much the card that you will be searching off Signet codec should you already open the Code Generator. If you did not open the Code Generator and you search that with the codec, you'll basically be searching the Gachiri at Ignister with the effect of Format Skipper. Gachiri at Ignister basically makes one of your monsters unaffected by your opponent's card effects for the entire turn and the next turn if it's sent from field to the graveyard. So this will basically strengthen your end board. Next up are the water targets you're going to be searching when you link summon for Shooting Code Talker. Your 3 targets are Sea Archiver, Code Radiator, and Scripton. Basically, the Sea Archiver is going to be something that you're going to be using in order to basically turn 1 card into 2 bodies. You normally special summon it with the effect of Firewall Dragon, and then after you link it off, you're able to reborn it from the grave. The Code Radiator is very useful as it can link summon from the hand, and when you use it to link summon for a Code Talker, you can target a monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and make its attack 0. It's very powerful for going second. For the most part, in Master Duel, I think you should always be playing a copy of this. In the TCG, if you want to opt to play none, you can. I like to play 1. And last but not least, we have Scripton, and Scripton is a very cool card as it is an extender that doesn't require you to control a Cyberse monster. And finally, we have the targets that you're going to be searching that are wind when you link summon X-Code Talker. You either get the Link Infra Flyer or the Parallel Exceed. The Link Infra Flyer is basically just going to be a free body you can summon onto the board. You can summon it to a zone any Link monster points to, so it's basically just a simple extender. The Parallel Exceed, however, is a little bit more powerful in the sense that it summons itself when you link summon a monster to the zone that that Link monster points to, and then it can summon another copy of itself from the deck. This is one thing that varies between deck building for Master Duel or for the TCG. Personally, you should always be playing 2 copies of Parallel Exceed instead of 3, so that you don't have the chance of bricking, and because it's searchable. However, in the TCG, because we are able to play Small World, Parallel Exceed actually happens to be the best bridge for that card. So for that reason, in the TCG, I feel like you should be playing 3 Parallel Exceed rather than 2. And then to finalize our main deck, we have the generic staple shit. You got your Call by the Grave, your Monster Reborn, and Small World. Call by the Grave essentially lets you play around certain hand traps, lets you not lose to stuff like Joel and Lockbird or like Ash Blossom. The card's very, very powerful. Monster Reborn is just a generic extender. You're able to just get an additional body out of it. And Small World effectively acts as the 4th, 5th, and 6th copy of Signet Mining. So moving on to the essential non-Code Talker monsters in the extra deck. You're going to have Talkback Lancer, Lingaribo, Splash Mage, and the newly unbanned, well, recently unbanned, Firewall Dragon. All 4 of these cards, in my opinion, are necessary to play in your deck. Talkback Lancer is an integral part of the combo. It allows you to tribute any Cyberse monster in order to summon back a Code Talker from your grave to the zone that it points to. Lingaribo is a toolbox option, in my opinion, in the sense that it allows you to play into trap decks a lot easier. Splash Mage is a card that allows you to continue on with your plays by reborning any Cyberse from the grave back to the field. It's very, very powerful for climbing up into an Access Code Talker when going second, or extending your plays when going first. And the Firewall Dragon is an integral part of your end board. this is not only a way to reach your end board, but is also the primary disruption you're going to be setting up for your opponent's turn. Another essential package that you're going to be needing to play in this deck is 2 copies of Salamangreat Balinks and 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary. So Salamangreat Balinks is not only a means of searching the Salamangreat field spell, but it's also a great means to remove any Cyberse monster that is level 4 or lower that you have on your field and put it into the graveyard. Salamangreat Sanctuary actually has 2 effects, but only one of them is relevant for this deck. The effect to relink does not matter, but the second effect is really good in the sense that it allows your link monster's attack to drop to 0 during damage calculation. The reason why that's relevant is because you're giving your opponent an Ibly, which is the biggest floodgate that they could possibly have on their field, and usually the way to out it is to flip it to attack and crash, but Salamangreat Sanctuary makes it so that the monster the Ibly tries to crash into drops to 0 attack, and why that's relevant is because 2 0 attack monsters, when they battle, they do not die. Their Ibly will stay on their field and they will remain floodgated. And next up, we have what I like to call the Tri-Gate package. These 3 cards basically allow you to set up a Tri-Gate wizard with an Omni-Negate on your opening board. So here you have Link Devotee, which is really good because if it's tributed while being co-linked, it'll special summon 2 Cyberse tokens. This you achieve by tributing it with the Talkback Lancer that I spoke about before. So Secure Gardener is effectively only here because it is a monster with a link arrow that points right. It being a link 1 is relevant because of the restriction on Link Devotee. And last but not least, the Tri-Gate Wizard and the reason why you play this package as a whole. These 3 cards basically allow you to guarantee that you have at least 1 negate on your end board should you be able to full combo. Alternatively, if you don't want to play the Tri-Gate package, you have access to some additional toolbox options. These cards are basically going to be the cards that you replace the Tri-Gate package if you choose that you don't want to invest 3 cards from your extra deck into a single negate. Update Jammer is a card that you've seen a lot in Salamangreat. We can play it in Code Talkers as well. I personally choose not to run it because I very rarely find that I need it to OTK, but there are some times when you do. Alternatively, the Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax is a pretty strong card, not only to make in your turn 1 opening board should you choose to not make Tri-Gate, but it's also really good for outing some really powerful boss monsters. I know these are only 2 cards, and I told you the Tri-Gate package was 3. Another thing that you can do is you can either bump the Transcode Talker or the Code Talker to 2 instead of playing 1. I did want to go over the Code Talker monsters once again. These cards are basically going to be the bread and butter of your extra deck, so I think it's important that you understand their effects. So the first one is the Code Talker. Code Talker's effect doesn't really come up that much. It gains 500 attack for every monster it points to, and while it points to a monster, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. But the reason why Code Talker is good is because it's a link 2 that basically allows you to start putting your code monsters into the graveyard, as well as opening up an extra zone under your EMZ. So the Code Talker Inverted is probably the strongest Link 2 that you're playing in your deck, in the sense that it's able to special summon any Cyberse monster from your hand to the zone that it points to. You can make your Code Talker Inverted Chainlink 1 and your Codec Chainlink 2, add a light monster, and then immediately special summon that monster you added to the zone that the Inverted points to. The Transcode Talker is the best extender in your entire extra deck because it reborns any Link 3 or lower monster from your graveyard to the zone that it points to, basically giving you an extra material, sometimes even being a Link 2 or a Link 3 extra material, allowing you to link climb into more powerful monsters. The Xcode Talker, usually the effect doesn't really come up that much. You do have it on your end board though. It protects any monster that it points to from being destroyed by card effects and boosts them by 500. But the other effect, which is not that relevant, does allow you to chain block. You can basically make your Xcode Talker the last card on the chain on its summon, making it so that you are locking one zone of your opponent's main monster zones, which will in turn basically not allow them to ash your Signet Codec. Then you have the Shooting Code Talker. Shooting Code Talker's effect really doesn't come up that often, but it's able to attack multiple times depending on the number of monsters it points to once you enter the battle phase, and can draw cards equal to the number of monsters you destroy by battle in that battle phase. And last but not least, the Access Code Talker, which you all know and love. It is an engine piece in this deck. A lot of other decks just use it as an OTK machine. In this deck, it triggers your Signet Codec. It's a Code Talker for your Signet Conflict, but not only that, it's also a means of popping upwards of like 4 cards on your turn in order to clear out your opponent's board and swing with a lot of attack. And that's going to round out your Code Talker extra deck for this deck. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys learned something new and basically now better understand the different cards that you should and most likely will be utilizing in the Code Talker strategy. This deck is very, very potent and powerful, but it has a little bit of a steep learning curve. If you guys do want to learn the combos that this deck is able to create, I'm going to be making a combo tutorial if this video reaches 2,000 likes. So get liking because I know you guys want to see more. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Peace!